Can we dig into I think the recruiting thing, the leadership, the management thing a little bit more? Because I think that, well, as you know, that's a big challenge in the roofing industry, is being able to build that culture and attract the right people, train people to where they can be successful, retain people, and really build that winning culture. Is that cool if we dig into that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the thing that most people really kind of miss is they don't actually put enough attention into their culture. I kind of think about it like this, for some people, whenever, we're EOS, I know you guys are as well. When people think about like creating core values for your company, whether you're a brand new company and you're coming up, or you've been a company for 25 years and you're like, maybe we're different. A lot of people, whenever they're really building their core values or setting their core values, it's like ambition. Like, I want us to be these people. Core values are not that way. Core values is who you are currently right now. If somebody was to come into your office and shadow you for the next 48 hours, would they actually say these things about interacting with everybody that is part of your company, right? So culture is one of those things where most people miss the boat on this, where they think like, oh, well, like if we've got sales and we got production and we got other people, like, the company's going to grow. Yeah. But if you actually don't continue to kind of breathe, I kind of think about it like a smoldering fire, where you got to like actually continually give it oxygen. You can't just like set it and forget it. It's not a Billy Mays commercial, where we're selling OxyClean. Like, you actually have to pay attention to that culture. And sometimes you really need to think about who are other people that are actually going to help breathe into this as well. Because I can't be the one that sets the culture by myself. If I do, and if I'm the person that's doing that, it's going to die and it's going to take on the life of whoever else is out there, right? Because I'm one person. And so getting to where really everybody is also helping breathe onto that fire to make sure that, we're still at the same fire together. This is what we want our company culture to look like. I don't have people over here in a different fire breathing on something different, right? It's not being divided. It's, hey, this is who we are. And if that's not something that you're interested in, then this is probably not the right place for you. Even if we love you and even if we care about you, like we've had people that have come and gone that were our friends, and then it was no longer the right fit and it was time to move on. And those are hard conversations, right? Those are never fun. Those are never easy conversations, but that culture is something that you kind of have to protect. And if you don't, it's going to be developed by somebody else. Right. And so you got to make sure that the people that you're bringing on have those same values that you do and have that same desire for the culture to look like that. Right. Like, we're very growth minded. I tell people all the time, if you're not interested in us talking about, development for you professionally and for you personally, you're going to hate it here. Like, you're going to be challenged in an appropriate way. Like, we're not sitting there name calling and yelling at you and, throwing water at you and stuff like that. If you're, like, we're not into all that crazy shaming and stuff. But if you're not interested in being a growth-minded person and you just are okay with comfort, you're going to hate it here. Like, comfort is the killer of growth, 100%. Like, if I feel comfortable, there's something wrong. Like, if I start to feel comfortable in my role here at AVCO or over at the Catch-All or Roof Warrior, or even like in my personal life with my wife, and it's just coasting along, or with my boys and developing them into young men. Like, if I'm comfortable, like, there's probably something that's actually not being attended to properly.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. Quick story. We didn't have a bad culture. This is probably going back 6 years ago. And I had a business partner for a little bit, and he lives in Phoenix and we're in New Jersey. And so he would fly in like quarterly into the office in New Jersey, and his name's Tim. And at one of those visits, he pulled me aside. I think it was at dinner that night. He's like, I don't think you realize it, but you let this culture develop. I don't think it's what you intend to build at this company. And that is that he's like, every day at like 4:55, everyone on the marketing team like picks up and just like whatever they're doing, they stop and they leave at 5. And he's like, it's not like they're magically just wrapping up a project, And right. He's like, I don't think that's the culture that you wanted to develop here. And I'm like, man, I kind of let that culture develop and I didn't like lead the charge on that. So I'm writing notes down here. You mentioned that, like there's going to be a culture at the company, regardless of whether you're intentional about building it or not. So you may as well like get ahead of it and be proactive and build a culture that you want, and don't let that culture develop because of your lack of leadership, your lack of being intentional and proactive about that.
Yeah, and we've had those experiences as well, where hindsight's 2020, and realizing like for a season we kind of got off base. That's not what Heath and I ever designed or intended it for it to be, and then we had to course correct. And when you course correct, sometimes when you course correct the boat, people are either falling off the boat or they want off of the boat because they're like, I wanted it to go this way, and we're like, no, we need to re-steer. And you got to be careful with that, right? Because if you're driving a boat, you can't just spin the wheel, as many times as fast as possible. You're going to tip that thing over, you're going to throw people off. So it's one of those course corrections. It's got to take some time, but you've got to really directly address those things. And I think what really helped us was the EOS stuff kind of brought a lot of structure. And, like we have quarterly update meetings, and we've had that for a number of years now. And so we have our annual meetings where I address the whole company. I actually lay out all the things that we used to kind of like hide, whenever it came down to it. We really kind of started talking through like, hey, these are what our financial goals are. These are what our numbers are going to look like, and kind of going from there. And like, these are what the different departments, how they play a part, how they're part of the puzzle. This is the puzzle piece, right? And so for us, really, we've had to course correct as well. And we're definitely in a lot better spot. And the people that are here want to be here, and they're excited about being here and want to have other people. They're like always trying to find other people in their sphere or somebody else's sphere that they know. And they're like, man, I think this person would be great. I had an interview with a guy yesterday, it was a friend of a friend. He's like, man, I've just heard about you guys for the last couple of years. And like, I would love to come work at a place culture-wise that is like that. That sounds amazing. So it's been really cool because a lot of people just kind of recruit for it, to be honest, if they enjoy where they work.